Let's move on, Paul. I want to talk about Federico Chiesa, and I want to talk about it in two different contexts. The first one is Liverpool named their Champions League squad, and Federico Chiesa wasn't on it. Again, maybe knock on from the Mark Gahey deal, because if Gahey signs, maybe they don't need to register Leone, and therefore they can another space. So, but Liverpool made the decision. Ultimately, it comes down to is that they had a choice between, it looked like Federico Chiesa and Rio Ngamoa. And I know Rio's English, but there's a whole host of reasons why he needs to be registered. You can look it up. It's UEFA bureaucracy. But Liverpool, I'm guessing it's Arne Slot's decision, decided to go with a 17-year-old kid rather than, the Italian international. So, what did you first make of that decision?
Yeah, I mean, when you sort of see it as a headline, it looks as though Chiesa is out in the cold and he's been deliberately shunned, and what does the future hold for him now as a result? But it was the red tape. If Mark Gahey didn't join the club, Liverpool needed an extra, someone for the homegrown quota, and it was just decided that Ngamoa it was, and Chiesa unfortunately has to miss out. So that is essentially how it's been explained. Despite it looking like he's sort of got his face pressed up to the glass, but I can understand it to an extent as well, because I think Chiesa is a little bit of a cult hero, isn't he? With the terrace anthem and one of the catchiest ones in years and all that sort of stuff. But I still think his Liverpool career on the pitch is trying to catch up to that status and adulation that he receives. And I think supporters probably frustrated that they want to have an excuse to sing the song in European aways. If he's coming off the bench or whatever. So still think he's got a way to go. We started the season sharper. I think it's fair to say. He did okay against Arsenal, didn't he, coming on, holding her up and stuff. He takes his goal brilliantly against Bournemouth, giving him a little bit of a lift-off moment finally. But a year into his Liverpool career, we're still really awaiting him to take flight, aren't we? And okay, not being in the Champions League will have an impact on his ability to do that. But he just has to take his opportunities when they come. Certainly had to be expecting him to start that Southampton game in the Carabao Cup. Maybe Ngamoa on the opposite flank. But, he's got to step up and, grab the ball by the horns and take responsibility in the opportunities that get presented to him. Because when you've got Mo Salah as your direct rival for your spot, you're up against it.
Yeah, it's mad because Ngamoa and Leone actually couldn't go, even though they're young enough to go, they couldn't be on this week because they haven't been at Liverpool for a long period of time. It's just, I suppose, when this news originally broke, and you're right, once people are like, oh my God, is this Liverpool trying to force Federico Chiesa out? It wasn't. It's more a red tape around homegrown, non-homegrown players. But it is worth saying, at this moment in time, if Liverpool need a winner against that Atletico Madrid next Wednesday, Arne Slot's now looking, and listen, Rio Ngamoa has come off the bench and scored a winner in the Premier League. But he's also brought Federico Chiesa on in every single Premier League game so far this season. They have signed Alexander Isak, and I understand the balance of things has changed a little bit. But yeah, again, ultimately Arne Slot has a decision to make, and if he chooses to go down this route, there's clearly a reason for it.
Yeah,
it isn't just because, listen, he could have left anyone out. He's chosen to leave Chiesa out effectively. Yeah.
I mean, like I say, I still think it was waiting for him to really show what he can do. Can he get back to that sort of form he was at? And it's going back a few years now, isn't it? 3-4 years. So when he was, a huge star for Italy when they won the European Championship. So, yeah, I think, it makes sense. It does, when you see the headlines, it does feel more harsh than it actually is. But there is some sound reasoning and thinking behind the decision. And unfortunately, he just has to miss out on this occasion. But you're right, Liverpool are struggling for a goal in the Champions League for, at some stage. Then that's when the decision might come into question. But ultimately, that is ifs and buts, and I still think Chiesa needs to show a bit more, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, well, again, the manager clearly agrees. On that though, there were reports, again, Federico Romano reported a couple of days ago that Besiktas called Liverpool about potentially taking Federico Chiesa. The Turkish window, for what it's worth, closes on Friday, so still a few more days left. The Greek window's open as well, if anyone cares. But Liverpool rebuffed that one as well. But again, there's still a few days away, and if money comes on the table, we don't know where we're at. But what's your understanding of the Federico Chiesa situation? Is there a chance that if Besiktas or someone else came, not with a loan offer, but with a cash offer, that it is something that Liverpool could be potentially interested in?
No, I had a couple of conversations about this week, and all the noises are that Liverpool have no intention of moving him on. Like I say, there's headlines from the Champions League omission to people sort of at a distance made it look a lot worse than it was. Made it look like he's out of favour and Liverpool would look to listen to offers. But, it's just a case of the homegrown issue means that he unfortunately misses out on this occasion. Liverpool are planning for the season ahead. Arne Slot, likes his versatility, the fact that he can play through the middle and on the right. And there will be game time for him, in the cup competitions. Obviously, Liverpool don't play the FA Cup until January, so he's pretty much going to have to become the main man in the Carabao Cup, you'd suggest. Or, in the Premier League, like he has done, certainly against Bournemouth, coming off the bench and making a bit of an impact. So, yeah, Liverpool not looking not encouraging any late offers from Turkey or anywhere else for Chiesa, and are planning for the season ahead with him in the ranks.
Yeah, I suppose, like I say, what it does mean is if you are worried about a player's fitness and he doesn't have to travel and he's available for one game a week, and like you say, the cup games and stuff, Liverpool are still going to have plenty of games. What I'll be telling is Chiesa's role in the non-European games from now on. Is he on the bench? Is he in the squads? Is he available for these type of games? I suppose that's when we might learn a little bit more if indeed they are going to keep him around. Because I suppose the flip side will be, if they're not going to use him, what's the point of keeping him around?
Yeah.
It feels like what's anyone getting from this?
Yeah, I mean, I think, if they were open to moving him on, I think Ben Doak probably would have stayed, and he could have maybe padded his Liverpool career out a little bit more. I imagine if he stays fit, he will be on the bench pretty much every week, won't he? He's a good option to have, certainly, and it's just up to him to show what he can do when he gets those rare opportunities. He's coming up to a year now, isn't it, since his Liverpool debut in that win against Bournemouth, or his Anfield debut at least, but still just having the same conversations that we were maybe having when he signed last summer, where if we can, if Liverpool can get him fit, we might be able to see the sort of form that made him, such a important figure in Italian football. We're still waiting for that.
I know it's a long time ago as well, but like this happened to Sami Hyypiä, 2008. Rafa Benitez didn't put him in the squad for same reasons. It was the homegrown quota rules, and Hyypiä, I was looking at, he still played 20 games in Liverpool last season. It isn't the death nail of your Liverpool career. It's just one of those things. It's worth mentioning that was Sammy's last year, and then he did leave, so we'll see where it goes with Chiesa in the future. But yeah, I don't know I think because as well, Paul, I think it's fair to say, based on what we've seen, you mentioned before, like maybe want a bit more from Chiesa, but he's been fit and available which has been much different than last year when he wasn't. Yeah. And the manager's been putting him on the pitch. And to be fair to him, like I say, he has been impacting games. So maybe that's why, because there was when we put this on our socials and things, and there was a lot of outcry. Actually, a lot of people were like, what is this decision about, kind of thing? He deserves better, all that kind of stuff. And I suppose a little bit understandable in that regard.
A little bit, yeah. Like I say, before you inspect the reasons behind it, it does look as though it's just a two fingers up to Chiesa and tough, but it's just the way it's fallen, really. There's so much excitement around Ngambova, and could you imagine him coming off the bench with 10 minutes to go against Real Madrid and a chance to run a Trent, and how much the fans are going to get behind him on that occasion? Liverpool are so excited about what this kid can do, and he's shown it in flashes, hasn't he? Certainly in pre-season, he had a fantastic pre-season. 3 goals, I think he scores. He gets the goal against Newcastle, becomes the youngest scorer in history, and is now ready to not necessarily become a first-team star, but take his next step on that path. Becoming a regular around the squad on match days, minutes here or there in the Premier League, and they don't want to sort of stunt that growth. So it's just the way it's fallen for Chiesa on this occasion, and it's a little bit unfortunate, but the rules are the rules, with the homegrown stuff. But
to go back to it one more time, we're still expecting him to be here post Friday, because that's the last time, really. If he's going to go, it'll have to be this week, really.
Yeah. I mean, Liverpool not looking to leave themselves short. I mean, this time last year they had 6 international forwards, didn't they? And of course, what sadly happened to Diogo. But they've chosen to move on Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez, brought in Ekitike and Isak. So they're not really in a position to sort of leave the options any more stretched.
Yeah, so, and again, there's an AFCON coming up. Maybe Chiesa will be used around those games. Obviously not in Europe, but he can certainly be used in the Premier League as and when Mo Salah goes off on international duty. So yeah, that's the latest on Federico Chiesa, and let us know your thoughts in the comment section on all of that stuff. Are you happy he's staying? I mean, I guess everyone's happy that we're going to be able to sing a song for a little bit longer anyway. Already lost the Luis Diaz song, that would be losing the Federico Chiesa song as well. That was a clip from Journo Insight. To check out the whole show, head to redmenplus.com or click the link in the description.